Dear Democrats and Liberals on Alberta 51st State Movement page, my friend Benjamin Ebley runs that page, and he's doing open forum style to get a lot of traffic. He allows everybody in, even though they don't believe in the Alberta statehood movement, are anti all of it, and it's okay. That's his path. I have my own, and we're building a political party here in Canada, so I can't have any of those people. You have to actually believe in what we're doing because we're building a political party. Two different paths. That's a movement, an open dialogue. They allow that in for everyone to see. That's great. I just can't go that way because we're trying to make a federal party, and we need all like-minded people focused on our 51st state of Canada. That being said, I have already done this video, but I want to do it specifically for the Democrats and Liberals. I saw one of my posts there, and of course, just a meme I shared from my good friend Jonathan LaBelle, and of course, all the Liberals and Democrats going crazy, and what seemingly is crazy. Now, I just want to stick with facts here. I've tagged all the appropriate people in the title. You'll go through it. I'm going to hit some key points here. So, folks, there was an investigation related in the Epstein files naming Trump from a 1980s claim from a woman who says in the 80s she was raped by both young Jeffrey Epstein and a much younger Donald J. Trump. There's a big problem with that, and I'm only going off, in the title, I'm only going off the Democrat Committee on Energy and Security, okay? I'm only going off their committee, their final reports, not my words. The Democrat committee in charge who completed the investigation in 2022, named in this as Joe Biden, former president of the United States, during his term as head of state USA, and of course the FBI reports of the time 2019 to 2022 as they finished that investigation. Now, Americans, you need to know this. Your highest in power Democrats in Congress, House, Senate, both combined, equal force all the time, no matter which party's in power. These committees have the same check and balance power as the executive. It's a check and balance to the executive. President reads those reports. At least a great, good president reads those reports. The Democrats exonerated Donald J. Trump in 2022. And here's all the information that you should go yourself if you're a true blue American Democrat. You should go read the Democrat reports. And you can say, what does this Canadian know? This Canadian has read those. I read all the FBI reports too. I read all the Epstein released files. I finished that quite a while ago. So what's the deal with Donald J. Trump? This unnamed woman who is not on the official Jeffrey Epstein American children victims of Jeffrey Epstein's list. She's not on there because I'm going to tell you why. Folks, if you don't know, if you haven't read the Jeffrey Epstein files, if you haven't read the Democrat committee report, and if you haven't read the FBI reports on Donald J. Trump and this unnamed woman, guess what's uncovered there? Jeffrey Epstein was a UK MI5 agent, Mossad agent, during that time. He was discovered after the 2019 raid on his New York property residence, uncovered his fake passport, fake alias that he used in the 80s, where he lived in Saudi Arabia. Do you know what happens when you pull Donald J. Trump's passport records? He never went there in the 80s. This story is fabricated. Democrat Americans, this is you proving that Jeffrey Epstein was an MI5 agent. This is what you proved in your investigation of your highest ranking Democrat authorities and during the presidency of Joe Biden. Bernie Sanders is tagged in this. I'm going to get into that for a minute because he went through this too. He does not implicate Donald J. Trump, folks. He doesn't. In fact, a lot of work Bernie Sanders did for the Democrats, Donald J. Trump has implemented thoroughly from all the Democrat committees that no president has honored, Democrats included. Obama didn't follow those committee reports. Bill Clinton didn't follow those committee reports. And Joe Biden didn't follow up on those committee reports. Lots of them. Lots of them. Donald J. Trump is actually following up on more Democrat committee reports than he is the GOP committee reports because they're not as good. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not knocking your political parties. I'm not attacking. We grow, we learn, we get better, and I'm learning how your system of checks and balances works, that it doesn't matter which party's in power or how many Senate and Congress seats they have. Of course, if you get to 2/3, it is a major big deal. But all the way along through, no matter what majority or minority, you get equal weight in Senate and House committees, congressional committees. 50% Republican, 50% Democrat. They do separate or joint investigations. They go off on their little areas. Democrats have done a phenomenal job in House and Senate. No joke. Contrary to all the TV, I am really surprised. But I learned this, and I'm not done, but I'm very close to being done. Another couple weeks. Maybe I get through the things I'm working on right now, but it's getting done. So that woman report is unsubstantiated, not corroborated by Democrat-led investigations, including Democrat-run FBI. It came back, and what they discovered is Jeffrey Epstein had a fake alias, traveled extensively, lived in Saudi Arabia for the 80s. Sure, over there you can marry 8-year-old girls. Sure, his pedophile system was established there. Do you know what you find out on that FBI retrieved fake passport? Again, done all by the Democrats. Is Jeffrey Epstein flew routinely to 4 countries: UK, Spain, France, and Saudi Arabia itself. That's what he did through the entire 80s under a fake name, fake passport that was his, found at his residency on an FBI raid in 2019, completely investigated and completed by the Democrats in 2022. This woman, this alleged child of the time, was thrown out. They said, this stinks of MI5 Mossad agent, because he went on to Israel after that. Again, Democrats, if you don't know and all the things you hate about Israel, Israel is a teen, teens, right? 13 to 17 creation by the then most powerful country in the world, the British Empire. America, you were still just a middle power. You were not the country you are today. You wouldn't start that path until post 1945, 30 years later. Now, Israel has been crafted and created by the British Empire. It's one of its jewels. Its system, its constitution, all the things you legitimately don't like about Israel is also legitimately what you shouldn't like about Canada. Yet, unfortunately, that migrates from the northern border into everything you are, even adopting the terminology liberal. Don't feel bad. There's a whole right-wing side to this too called conservative. Conservative and liberal are Canadian terms that Republicans, in at least a minority, but sadly a growing major minority of Democrats are getting institutionalized into this, meaning you're being propagated by the Canadian government, the British system, that's no longer in the world today. It's an old evil. And what do I mean by that? There is a place that you should know called Thames in London. It's got the London Tower. It's the first world stylized Pentagon. If you go look at it, it sure looks a lot like your Pentagon, just very much older. There they have a tower just east of it called Canada One at Canary Wharf. It was the tallest structure with a pyramid on top, Canada One Tower. That is the first creation called Canada, the jewel of the British Empire, and a system of socialism and fascism. I know in your hearts and in your guts, this is starting to hit you. It's starting to make sense to you, especially when you get into your anti-fascist stuff, but realize you're being programmed, you're being manipulated by the very fascists who say that they're for you or are teaching you all these great things. They're actually deadly against you. They hate you. Bernie Sanders knows this. He sees this. High-level Democrats see this at the highest level, and they're going, oh my God, like, we made these reports and none of you are seeing it or reading it, and you're in our party. And so what happened is Britain created 1867 Canada, the socialist and fascist jewel of subjugation and savagery, where they defined First Peoples as Indian savages to be assimilated or genocided. That's the only solution for them. This is also the reality, unfortunately, absolutely since 2018, where Israel implemented a new tenet of the 10 basic laws of the superior Israeli. This is how it is in Canada. They do that for the superior first class, 3 classes, and of course a savage class. And that's what's befallen the Palestinians. This is what you need to know. And Jeffrey Epstein, you are the ones who provided the evidence that Jeffrey Epstein was in fact an MI5 agent all the way through the 80s, that this attack on Donald J. Trump was Jeffrey Epstein's little bomb created because him and Donald J. Trump later on in life had a falling out. He left this little thing to try and screw Donald J. Trump if Donald J. Trump tried to mess with him. Donald J. Trump not well liked by the UK at all. At all. He's a threat through the Monroe Doctrine to everything Britain. As Americans, you've always been a threat to that system of subjugation. You're supposed to be the evolution of that. Your founding fathers, Republican and Democrat alike, created your system to fight that. And you do, largely, but there's now been an inheritance a migration of that British system into you. It's make America subjects again. And I'm sorry, but that's the truth. Now, I want to move on now and add a little more. This is going to be a lot of rinse and repeat for people who follow me, but it's all for all of you in truth. There are two American politicians of high stature who absolutely and emphatically support Canada, the 51st state. When I say that, I mean elected, not appointed. I mean long-time, high-profile, elected American high-standing politicians. Who are the two biggest supporters of Canada, the 51st state? Well, we know Donald J. Trump, President of the United States and Republican, he's the number one, but who's the number two? Well, folks, you Democrats and liberals, you call yourself that, and actually I'm going to take a step back. What is conservative and what is liberal? It's Oxford terminology, not American. And if you didn't know this, Democrats, you need to know it because Republicans know it now. Conservative is Tory, liberal is Whig. That comes from the British Empire, very old. It's at the same time as your crafting of the Monroe Doctrine. They created two political parties called Whig and Tory to counter-effect you Americans, to destroy you Americans, and that's all Democrats, all Republicans. To get into your head, what is a conservative, a Tory? That is someone who believes in a divine king should rule over all the people, and that only that royal family has lineage and title to do that. Nobody else. And of that, everyone who's a key core member of that, just 3,000, which is maintained and been kept in Canada, known as what we call delegates. They have direct lineage and title to the current royal family in some fashion. Always 3,000. That's a Tory. They believe in a divine king to rule over everybody, and only 3,000 people make all the decisions for the 41 million people in Canada. Conservative equals Tory. 3,000 hereditary title holding people. It's not what you know, it's not what you care about, or how good at something you are. It's that you have a hereditary title to that kind of control over 41 million people in Canada today. That is the conservative. Now, what is the Whig, the liberal? They say, oh yeah, we need the king, and they are the divine title, but there's also royal families, hereditary families that may not have direct dealings with the king, but in blood, but they've been around, they hold land, they were lords of the land in the lordship system. Those people get hereditary title. Those are our delegates. 160,000 in 41 million people, always been the number. Never changes. Been like that since your Monroe Doctrine, created by your ancestors, American, to counteract that evil. That's Tory, that's Whig. Same thing. Oh, you get a few more hereditary persons. If you look at 160,000 against 41 million people, half of that is 20 million, you're over 18 voting age. And then you do a comparison, it's 0.8% of the electorate runs the entire country hereditarily. Conservatives, much lower than that, 0.1%, it's even a little under that. Together, they don't even add up to the wealthy 1%. And they're all wealthy in Canada. This is what you face, American Democrats, and American Democrats who use their title as liberal when you use that word. You're capitulating to that you're less, especially as an American with no hereditary title. You are saying, I am a second-class citizen. I want to be a subject. I want to make America subjects again. I love socialism and fascism because that's the definition of fascism. A divine human being hereditarily rules over other human beings who are less than them. And we're a pyramid. We have first, second, which is and always has been, according to Whigs and Tories, the mercantile class, business class. And then there's the working class, who's on third tier. To understand it, Americans, the best way, Democrats especially, is it's the Titanic. The first class has all the lifeboats. They're on the upper deck. Next deck that can be locked down with the manway seal is the second class. There's only enough lifeboats for half of them. Then there's the third class that sits down below them, and there are no lifeboats for them. And then there's the savage class, known as the Boilermaker, who does all the work on the ship, shoveling coal, and they're absolutely locked down. If there's an emergency, hit an iceberg or get hit or any kind of things or bad waters, a breach of the hull, you lock them down first. Their lives are gone because they're not equivalent to third, second, or first class. They're not in the class. They're the savage class. They lock them down right away so that everybody else can get out. And while third class is locking down the Boilermaker class, the second class is already locking down the third class. Well, the first class is taking their sweet time, getting lots of extra time, taking lifeboats, lots of room in them. You could fill them up quite a bit more, but hey, they're first class. They take half the lifeboats, even though most of them are empty, collected their things that they wanted, slow walk, who cares, right? Because there's no care of everyone below them because they're not equal to them. They're superior in every way, and those people below them, the lower they go, don't matter to the point. Those aren't human beings. Those are just assets to keep us rich. They mean nothing. The idea that captain goes down with the ship, no. Boilermaker always went down with the ship. This example happened to Americans, Democrat and Republican alike, during World War II. There is a huge story until this day. There are the children of that want answers to why Europeans allowed all these American soldiers going to fight for France, why they allowed them to die in the ship when they could have been saved, and there were still lifeboats available because they locked them down in the port to give ample time for all the officers of that European system of class to have plenty of time to get away. They even sent subs much later on, National Geographic. It's a beautiful, beautiful presentation, and you can see life rafts still on the ship. Why? Because they locked all the American troops down below, because they don't matter. Officers matter, soldiers don't. Now, that's not America. That's never been America. They care and value all American life equally, whether you're Democrat or Republican. But that's not the rest of the world. That's certainly not the UK, European Union of civil law unitaries. That's just reality. So I've explained all that. We'll let people go crazy all they want, but please, at least do yourself a solid and read your Democrat committee reports, read the FBI reports done by the Democrats under Joe Biden and his Democrat appointments. At least do that. Don't trust me. Don't trust Republicans. Do the work for yourself. Read your Democrat reports. Read them. Now into 51st State. The two politicians, Donald J. Trump, Republican, Bernie Sanders, Democrat. Why does Bernie Sanders fully support Canada 51st State? because of our universal health care at what would be the state level. And also, it will win a Supreme Court challenge, forcing all 50 states of the Union into it, saving the federal government $7 trillion a year, meaning you're not just balanced budget, you're actually paying off your debt, contrary to what Elon Musk tells you, who again is a radical Republican, who is a Tory, who never went through any kind of deinstitutionalization that all South Africans were forced into post-apartheid, which is also created off the Canada One model, just like Israel. They all come after. Canada is the first creation. It's the British North America. It's the oldest war on America. It never ended. It's still there. Largely, it's a proxy war, a war of the mind, which the colonial empires are the best at, no better than the British Empire. They've polluted you Democrats. And a lot of religious Christians on the right side, even Charlie Kirk fell for it. I hate to say that, but I'm here to be honest. Charlie Kirk fell for it. Democrats are right to highlight the Heritage Foundation. It comes really from Alberta and far-right Christians in Alberta. I've been accused of somehow creating that because I re-implemented Alberta independence in 2019. I did not use any of that. I'm not a party of that. Anyone who looks at any of the works I've done, I'm completely opposite of that. I stay true to the truth of what America is and real history, whether I like that or not, or people like that or not. So Bernie Sanders wants 51st state, wants the universal healthcare model at the state level, many times cheaper for public healthcare, everybody, especially Democrats. I am not talking about your two-tier private side of healthcare. We would love that too, but I'm telling you, our far superior public system to your public system will save you $7 trillion a year at a fraction of the cost when implemented, and won in what? The Supreme Court of the United States. You just watched Trump lose on tariffs. President, Congress, Senate can't win against the judiciary when they make a ruling at the highest court. And I can promise you, when it comes to Canada's universal healthcare model, public, presented as a State of the Union, a part and parcel of the 51st state, it will also become a Supreme Court of the United States challenge, where Obamacare, Medicare, Medicaid will be removed, meaning federal government doesn't cover that anymore. Each state will implement their own healthcare for all, nationwide at the district level. The model that's found in Canada, the only American district model that exists in Canada, our one and only gift to the United States of America that blows Elon Musk out of the water. It disputes everything he says. And again, if you don't, I don't like Elon Musk. I know history, global history. I've spent lots of time in American universities exploring all these things with lots of Democrat high academics ranked worldwide and highest in the United States, predominantly Democrats, not Republicans. They're there too. But we've went through all this. It's an amazing thing, and I love it. I love it. And this is the part I try to share. Democrats can rage on and call themselves liberals, which is a real shit stain on them, really. And it's important to know that. Just as it's important for those Christian Republicans, highly influenced by the Catholic Church. I could do a whole theology presentation to both Republicans and Democrats, but that would be for another video. But there's a lot of Catholic Republicans trapped in this too, and unfortunately Democrats too, all perverted in the same way from the same UK British propaganda that's overtaking Canada for generations, many generations. Institutionalization. It's migrated to the northern states. It's got a lot of Democrat states, and it's also got a lot of Republicans too. Anyhow, that's my video, my education, my truth, by the Democrats alone in the highest offices under a Democrat president, Joe Biden. And this is truth of Bernie Sanders. I know. I went to Washington with the presentation that I left with Donald J. Trump with both Bernie Sanders and Donald J. Trump on the poster. I melted your academia. And in Washington, I met with an academic who just started laughing. He goes, I teach people presidency. That's my specialty. America's 341 million people. That's his job. And he laughed that I'd already gotten it. I already knew how to come to Washington, showcasing both sides of the equation. And he just laughed. He said, that's the mark of a great president that I teach. And you did that without anyone teaching you that. He goes, that's something. And he had a chuckle. He said, I can't believe that. And so it's amazing. It really is. And it's an amazing journey. And it's about waking people up to the truth. It's about stopping the division. Another beautiful thing Democrats need to look at your state level is called Better Angels. It's for Republicans and Democrats. They soften you. At the state level, I've been invited only as observer to watch Democrats and Republicans at the citizen initiative level doing constitutional reforms at all 50 state levels, which is huge, always ongoing, and you're so active there like nothing I've seen in the world. You don't make it public. It's not on any news. It's probably boring to the media, exciting for me, coming from a really institutionalized, sick socialist and fascist crown constitutional monarchy where none of that's achievable or possible. So look at Better Angels. I probably should have put that in the title too, but that is amazing for both Republicans and Democrats. Nothing in this world I've ever seen. And remember, as I give this video to all of you, I'm not American. I grew up as a third-class subject, lowest of the low. My title is Boilermaker Welder, so I know what it's like to live and exist in the third class, and I know how the system is. And what you don't know is the beautiful system you have there in the United States, and you don't want to end up on this side of the aisle. I promise you, it's much, much worse than you could ever imagine. People hate here. They hate each other. And I don't see that no matter where I go in the United States. Democrat, Republican state, I don't see that anywhere near any level recognizable to the hate I see here in my own country. That's my video. God bless. Share. Get it out there. Learn something. Bye now.